The revenge was worse than death itself. The woman's mouth was stuffed with a lit cigarette, and the blast of nicotine nearly choked her to death. After she passed out, the masked man pressed a loudspeaker over her ears and cranked the volume to max. She lost control of her bowels, her eardrums burst, and even her brain felt like it was shaken to mush. But he wasn't done. He grabbed an electric baton and tapped it against several wires, sending shocks that left their bodies rigid. The story begins as 6 captives wake from unconsciousness to find their hands and feet bound, their eyes and mouths covered with cloth, unable to see or speak. Only panic and struggle were left to them. Then footsteps approached. The killer pulled an electric baton from his pocket and pressed it to a metal frame. Electricity surged through the metal, making all of them convulse uncontrollably until they were on the brink of collapse. Only then did the masked man stop and remove their blindfolds one by one, telling them they had each committed unforgivable harm, and only by confessing their sins could they leave alive. Suddenly, smoke filled the room and they all passed out again. When they woke, the cloth over their mouths was gone, but metal plates on both sides of their heads blocked their vision, and iron cuffs around their necks kept them from turning to look around. Judging by the voices, they were all strangers, so why were they brought together? The hot-headed Xiao Shuai started cursing, but the masked man walked in, crouched in front of him, made a shush gesture, then pressed the baton to his neck and shocked him without hesitation, dragging everyone else into the agony as well. At least he offered a warning. Time was running out. Terrified he'd do more, Fat Sister quickly confessed she once spit in her mother's food and had felt guilty ever since. Brother Ma admitted to cheating on his wife without her knowing. Seeing others speak, Xiao Mei confessed she knowingly became a mistress and used her looks to lure married rich men. Ah Hua said she was a freeloader who drained her parents' savings, even their funeral funds. But clearly these weren't the answers the masked man wanted. He shocked them again, leaving their scalps tingling, but the baton soon began to lose power. He said none of them had given the correct answer and hinted that all 6 shared the same sin. Once the baton was recharged, he would return to judge them. After he left, Fat Sister analyzed his words, believing they must have committed the same type of wrongdoing. But after thinking it over, everyone was confused. They didn't know each other, had no connection. So how could they share the same crime? With no progress, hot-headed Xiao Shuai said they should focus on escaping instead. Ah Ming said he felt the metal rack shake when he struggled earlier and suggested they work together to move it. But Fat Sister objected. Without a key, even if they moved the rack, they couldn't break free from the chains. As they argued, the masked man walked back in carrying a bucket full of ballpoint pens, then moved behind Ah Ming. He grabbed a pen, jabbed it down, and Ah Ming's screams filled the whole room, scaring the others so badly they nearly wet themselves. The masked man stabbed again and again. As the man's cries grew weaker, his body soon went still, covered in pens, no breath left. The others, unable to turn their heads, had no idea what he had just gone through. They were too terrified to make a sound. Smoke spread again, and when they woke, they found the chains on their right hands unlocked, allowing one hand to move freely. Old Ma realized they were all fixed to a circular platform and suggested turning it clockwise together. But before long, Xiao Mei screamed. She must have seen something horrible. With escape more important than questions, they kept rotating. When Xiao Shuai reached her position, his face changed instantly. A severed finger lay on the ground with a pen stuck in it. He quickly pulled the pen out, hid it behind him, and planned to attack the masked man when he came in. Soon enough, the masked man entered and crouched in front of him. Xiao Shuai seized the chance and thrust the pen toward him, but the masked man twisted aside, and the pen only pierced his shoulder, not enough to stop him. Knowing payback was coming, Xiao Shuai didn't dare meet his gaze. Strangely, the masked man wasn't angry at all. Instead, he placed a sheet of paper and a pen beside each person, saying that if anyone wanted to confess but didn't dare speak, they could write it down. Only then did they realize why their right hands were freed. Thinking he wasn't set solely on revenge, Ah Hua quickly said that if it was about money, her parents could pay a huge ransom. Xiao Mei added that if he let her go, she'd give money and even offer herself, however he wanted. But the masked man didn't care about money or desire. All he wanted was the correct answer. Then he'd release them. When he saw they were still bargaining, he shocked them again, then filled the room with smoke for the next round of judgment. No one knew how long had passed when they woke to loud noises. Old Ma quietly warned everyone to stay still. Every time they woke, the masked man would come in to judge them. So, under his direction, they pretended to remain unconscious, using the cover of noise to plan an escape. While they were thinking, Xiao Mei noticed fresh blood dripping beside her. Something was wrong. Ah Hua hadn't said a word during all their whispering. She cautiously asked her, and as the scene shifted, it became clear. Ah Hua's head was strapped with 2 loudspeakers. She had become the second one executed. The masked man entered again, ready to drag the body away, and Old Ma saw the gruesome sight clearly, terrifying him. The others couldn't see but knew she was dead. Now, only 4 remained. No one knew who would live or die next. The loss of 2 people broke Xiao Mei completely. She demanded to know why he was doing all this. The masked man's answer left them all stunned. Old Ma quickly asked for more hints, but the masked man ignored him and walked out. The next second, smoke filled the room once more. Before they passed out again, they were told to write down the most heartless, unforgivable thing they had ever done. Otherwise, another person would die. When they woke from unconsciousness again, the masked man removed the metal plates blocking their vision, finally letting them see the room, everyone except Xiao Mei. Her mouth was stuffed full of cigarettes, sealed in place with strong glue. The masked man calmly squatted in front of her, flicked on a lighter, and ignited every cigarette at once. Thick smoke rushed deep into her lungs. Her breathing grew rapid and strained, her expression twisted in agony. With her mouth completely packed and the smoke trapped inside, she suffocated within moments under the masked man's gaze. Time was running out for the rest. Smoke filled the room again, and the remaining three scrambled to confess their sins. When they woke once more, Old Ma realized the chain around his neck had been unlocked. He quickly woke the other two, warning that only 3 of them were left. If they didn't fight back now, they might never get another chance. But before they could form a plan, the masked man entered again, this time holding a spiked club. He walked straight towards Xiao Shui. As he was about to strike, Old Ma tried to provoke him, yelling that he was just a coward, hiding behind a mask and challenging him to release them and fight one-on-one. But the masked man didn't react. He simply raised the spiked club and brought it down hard. Xiao Shui died almost instantly, crushed beneath the blows. Still unsatisfied, the masked man turned toward the last 2 survivors. Just as he prepared to attack, he suddenly grabbed his throat, convulsed violently, and collapsed, dead on the floor. Old Ma cautiously nudged him with his foot, and once certain the masked man was truly dead, he removed the mask. Shock hit him. The man's mouth was glued shut, and a photo was wedged against his face. But the photo showed nothing useful. As Old Ma stared, the face began to look familiar. After a moment, he realized it was a junior high school classmate he hadn't seen in years. He froze. Then came another twist. Fat Sister spoke up, saying she had also gone to that same school and had even written Old Ma a love letter back then. Old Ma, confused, said he remembered nothing and now wasn't the time to reminisce. He grabbed a padlock and began smashing it against the metal frame. At that moment, Fat Sister spotted a key inside a burning candle. Old Ma blew out the flame and reached for it, but the metal was too hot and he dropped it. Fat Sister quickly grabbed it herself, unlocked her own shackle, and then ran off without helping him. Just as Old Ma stared in shock, she finally revealed the truth. She was the mastermind behind the entire ordeal. Everyone who had been punished in that room had once been in the same junior high class, and her reason for revenge went back more than a decade. Back then, Fat Sister had still been a boy who fell in love with Old Ma and wrote him a love letter. But Old Ma showed the letter to Xiao Mei and Ahua, and soon the whole school knew. Everyone present had taken part in the bullying. She eventually dropped out, disappeared, spent years on surgery and changing her life, yet could never erase the trauma. So she created this revenge. Hearing the truth, Old Ma begged for forgiveness, but it was far too late. The memories had destroyed her life. She could never let go. Fat Sister switched on the electric baton and watched Old Ma writhe in agony. This was the moment she had waited for, but she had no intention of surviving either. Consumed by twisted love and pain, she replaced the knockout gas with poison, and just like that, she and Old Ma would be together forever.